everybody's going to take 3 clothespins and pin them on their shirt. And in this game, you're going to be trying to get other people's clothespins. So how about you come and take 3 clothespins each here?
Thank you.
Whoops, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, they're jumping all over the place.
I got 2 right here.
Here.
Go, 3.
Everybody get? Let me demonstrate. Like if I get one of yours, then I get 3 seconds. You know, I can count it out. 1, 2, 3 to put it on my shirt.
And take off?
So while you're counting, nobody can take your clothespins. But once you've counted to 3, you've got to get it on, and then somebody can take yours also.
Okay.
Does everybody understand?
What happens when all your clothespins are gone?
You have to get some from somebody else.
Well, what's the object of the game?
To get as many clothespins as you can.
Okay.
Shall we try playing this one?
Yeah.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Ah! 1, 2, 3.
You got too many.
Okay. Everybody stop. Let's take them off and see how many you got.
I got 1.
All right.
I got 3. I got 6.
You got 6. All right.
Okay, so we're back.
Yes.
I really wanted to just talk about how it's going to feel when people have gone through this kind of training experience, gone through the weekend, and what's going to be different on the Monday afterwards. And one of the things that won't be different on the Monday afterwards actually, but will be different in the end, is you'll be part of a community of people who can lead new games. And so not only will you meet new people who are in the events that you run, but you'll also be part of a community of people who can kind of share ideas and be with you on the journey.
And more than that, it's happened where people who have met on the workshops have supported each other. So if Joe was leading an event at some hospital someplace, he can call up some of the people he's trained with and say, "Hey, could you come with me?" And that's happened. So they get support from each other. And
that's nice.
Yeah.
I even think we may, in the end, have some kind of global gathering of new games people once a year. But
Yeah. One happened 2 years ago, actually. Because there was a reunion for some event in San Francisco, and I attended that. And it was quite nice to meet up with folks who I used to work with.
Yeah, you all just sit around eating soup and not doing games at all because you were tired of doing games.
No, we weren't doing games. We did have one day where we talked about our past experiences and that, and that was something. but also then we had a festival on the final day, and where the public was invited, and that was really quite fun.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was good to do it again.
New Games Festival.
Yeah, so I don't know, a couple hundred people.
You're lighting my marketing neurons.
All right then.
One of the things you talked about in day 2 of the workshop, which is 21st of April, if you've just in case you've forgotten, was a leadership bit where you talk about how you're going to train people in how to lead these events, new games, workshops. So
there are many leadership principles which are applicable to any situation, any leadership situation, but there are some that are very particular to new games. You have to be very sensitive to people because, like those who are reluctant to join, to be sensitive to that, to invite them to join, to get them past, that kind of thing. But also, there's safety issues, checking the ground or the area that you're going to be in to make sure that there's no hazards, and if there are some that you cannot remove, to be able to mark those and point this out to people. That's pretty important because and inviting people as you see them, because I've had it where people have just been walking by and have been looking at us and say, "Hey, would you like to come and join us?" And sometimes they do. It's great fun, and just different aspects of that. And how about presenting the game, not to rattle on and on and on and on and on like I am right now, to explain a game, but to get to it quickly and concisely and provide a good demonstration of the game, so people get an idea of what it looks like being played. And, those are some ideas, but we'll go into certainly a lot more.
Sure. I mean, one of the questions that that came up was about. And I don't know whether this is a rule for Muslim people, but Muslim people are no touching. So I guess that you're going to have to adapt to whoever's in the group.
Absolutely, and that's always true.
But and whatever their norms are, or whatever.
Yeah, it's not true for all Muslim people, but for some that don't allow men to touch women, women to touch men. And I really discovered that when I was in India, and when I put my hand on my friend's shoulder, people went, like, oh, okay. So you have to you have to be aware of the cultural guidelines and whatever, or whatever, and just be sensitive to that and adapt as necessary. I mean, you can do a lot of games without touching, and that's fine.
Cool. So we had Bruce Gold said he's been leading new games since the 80s. He's got all the books.
Shocking.
And uses new games for men's support groups, picnics, family parties, and training weekends. And he says it's really for the men's groups and support groups. It's a really kind of transformative experience.
Yeah, from what I remember reading what he wrote, he said he took a game and transformed it for his purposes. Now, it wasn't really any longer what I would call a new game, but it worked for his group, and so he could take something and change it, and everybody, of course, who comes to the workshop is welcome to do that. And we'll talk about things like that, gee, I don't think I could do this game with my group. Then we'll say, well, okay, how can we adapt this game? How can we change it so you could use it? And then we find ways to make it work. Somebody once told me there's like 7 games in the whole world, or some figure like that, and then there's combinations and permutations, and you're putting things together, different elements together, and then you can just get all these games. But
it's like these 7 stories, only 7 stories in the world, that kind of thing.
Maybe
kind of idea.
Yeah.
Another question, Jeanette asks about marketing new games events, and I think she was talking about once you do the training and you want to run new games workshops and events, how you actually get the word out. And we plan all kinds of things, ways to help you with that. Part of it is building that community of like-minded people who've gone through it and done it before, and can give you advice. But also, of course, I'm a marketer, so I have my own ideas about how that's going to work. This is kind of part of it. So we'll just be together doing that. We'll be here in support, and hopefully we'll end up with the best practice and a kind of a way to do it that we'll share.
And I have materials that I've used which people are welcome to take and cut and paste in their own own details. But you can use the basic flyers that I use if you want, and go from there.
And of course, it's as a global phenomenon that we intend it to be. Marketing a new games event in Tokyo will be different to marketing it in Scarborough, UK, because of the different norms. So there's quite a lot kind of to it, really. Yeah. We'll travel the journey together.
Indeed.
And make it work. So the Sheffield class is the only Sheffield class. So if you do want to, and this is the last video as well. So this is the last that you're going to hear from us. So now's your last chance to get your ticket for the weekend of the 21st of April to learn how to run new games where you are.
Yeah, for 21st and 22nd.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. See you there.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us.